Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another great edition of my Grue Rume Show. And for the Grue Rume Show today, we got a very, very cool guest, someone that I'm really looking forward to talking to. And his name is Jake Foy. And Jake stars in a television series that's out on Hallmark channel, and it's called Ride. And I'm really looking forward to talking to him about his character. He plays someone named Tuff. That's actually the character's name, Tuff. But we're going to talk all about the series, about Tuff, about his music background and everything else. I'm really looking forward to talking to him. He seems like a really cool guy, and he definitely does a lot. I am Rocco Cross. I am the host that stutters, as you could tell already. I am the host of the Grue Rume, and my interview with Jake will be coming up very soon. And this is my groom, and as always, welcome to my nightmare. So stay tuned. All right, welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day and coming on, bud.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Definitely, man. So like the first thing I wanted to start out asking you is I know you grew up in Canada and you're currently living there, and
Yep.
the film scene, from what I heard in Canada, has been growing and growing because everyone used to do either Los Angeles or New York, but it's getting bigger there now, right?
Yeah, I think that Canada has seen some growth, not necessarily in its own like self-generated projects, although there was a bit of a period around Schitt's Creek and a show called Strays and Kim's Convenience that was generating a bit more Canadian television. But yes, definitely, partly because of the dollar exchange and some of the tax credit incentives. It's been great to watch the industry boom in Canada, though, because it's created obviously a lot of opportunities for Canadian actors to be featured in some pretty prestige projects. And that used to just be in the Toronto market, it felt like Handmaid's Tale and some projects from that time. But in the years since, it seems to be booming, particularly in Alberta, and obviously Vancouver
Oh,
hosts all
wow.
those CW projects as well. So those are huge for the Canadian industry.
Wow. Canada is on my list. Like I mean, Philadelphia, like the USA really isn't too far from Canada. So
Yeah.
there's no reason why I can't go there. So I have to
Yeah,
make an effort.
that's true. Well, we're a sprawling place. Like the Maritimes are really cool. I wouldn't do that in the winter. That's just me. Vancouver's beautiful. It's Canada gets like talked about as sort of one big idea, but there are a lot of like small cultures and communities within it, same as the United States, very
Yeah.
different from state to state. So yeah, don't be afraid to reach out if you need some recommendations. I've seen a lot of the country and it's beautiful.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm.
And like we were talking earlier before we went live with this. Like I, I'm a sports fan. One of my favorite teams are the Flames, and it sounds like you're a Flames guy too. Is that your team?
I'm not. I was raised a Maple Leafs fan.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the truth. My dad's the sports fan, and my brother played actually. That's my dog shaking out a little bit of a nap in the background. But yes, while here, I'm a local fan. I don't have a Western Canadian team that I'm loyal to, even though I live in Vancouver. Been to more Flames games than Canucks games,
Oh,
actually.
okay.
So we'll see. It's TBD. I don't want to claim loyalty yet.
So like the Flames and Vancouver are like secondary, and your top are the Leafs.
Well, I mean, I don't even follow Leafs hockey anymore, but it was definitely that was my childhood for sure.
See, and I was reading before you got involved with doing film and television, you were doing stage work.
Yeah.
And was there any plays that you had the most fun with?
Well, the first one that comes to mind, there were many, and they all have a different special place in my heart, as shows do, working on screen as well. But I was lucky enough to be part of the original workshop cast of Come From Away, which went from the Canadian Music Theatre Project, which was happening at Sheridan College, where I was at the time, and then went all the way to Broadway and had a number of international productions. So the reason that one comes to mind is not only because the story is so beautiful and a Canadian story as well, but because seeing that process really inspired me to do more of my own creating and to move projects of my own up and through the system, whatever that means, through funding and financing and through to production. So from that, made a few short musical projects, the most recent of which is a collaboration with Drew Gasparini that's running 40 minutes. And on, here, let me just, come on, this is my dog. Just trying to get an interview.
Yeah, I have a dog too, so I know my dog has appeared in quite a few interviews.
Yeah, exactly. Wants to play now, was napping when we started this.
Oh yeah, that's how it always works.
But yeah, from that, from watching Come From Away, that was probably the experience that made more seem possible. And so I credit it with that for sure. And so from that, obviously development of those projects, and a few have come fully to fruition. One 80-minute musical anthology that is still in financing, but moving along, which is great. And yeah, that's the update on all those projects. Come here.
Wow. Come here. Nice. And, you've been part of such great television shows, and how does it feel to actually be part of that world, the universe of Arrow, Batwoman, and Star Trek? Like three huge shows.
Yeah, those are, well, my experience on Star Trek was actually on Beyond. So on the third film in the franchise, which was another eye-opening experience. I mean, Chris Pine had just come off of doing Into the Woods, which is a favorite of mine. Zach Quinto had just done The Glass Menagerie on Broadway. So among the other stars of that project, I was just a really small pawn in that story, but was so excited to watch their process on something as large as that franchise. Yeah. And then as far as like Batwoman and the Arrowverse and all of that, again, smaller roles that really showed me what work could be at this scale. Watching Stephen Amell work as well, he just was a leader, at least as far as I could tell. His rapport with the crew, and obviously then his role that evolved into being an executive producer, I believe, and having more influence on the shape of the show, really just, again, paves the way for a young actor to say, okay, with integrity and respect for the crew that helps tell the story, you can really make change in this industry and this workplace for the better. And so as much as those are like big fandom communities, I think the biggest thing I took away from being a part of them was knowing what it takes to make something that brings an audience in and creates fans the way that those series do. They do it very well. And it's a very big machine. And
it is.
Yeah, and it comes from a friendly workplace where people treat each other as well as they can. And that's important to me on Ride as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. And you also did a holiday film, Christmas film, and like around Christmas season, are you someone who does like the month-long Christmas movies? I know me and my mom do that. So
yeah, it's funny. I feel like the holidays are in film and television. There is a very inconsistent workflow, and you have to be ready to go to work or be working at any given time. But the holidays are generally a hiatus for working. So I feel like what ends up happening is around the month of December, everything that I haven't gotten to for the rest of the year becomes a priority. So we do very little holiday viewing. I don't want to break anyone's heart by saying this, but there's almost nothing that gets watched. Sometimes there's a Christmas Day movie in theaters, but usually that's like a big blockbuster. Like I think, was it last year or the year before? Everything's a blur. West Side Story came out on Christmas Day, I think. That was the most recent like holiday movie out experience that I can remember. But of course, holiday movies growing up were huge. Like I still watch The Grinch. It doesn't need to be the Christmas season to watch The Grinch. I think of what else was sort of on that list. Christmas Vacation, Home Alone is on there too. You know, there are some classics.
Nice. And you know, you're part of this big show now called Ride. So before you got the role for Ride, were you a fan of Western movies and television?
Yeah, I mean, I will say my favorite genre is the epic. I don't know how to quantify it other than that. I love world building. That's part of why, you know, the Star Trek world was so exciting to be on the Enterprise. It's thrilling to be reign in this like enormous like royalty monarchy environment, like, and this was that too. Obviously Ride is of that scale, and as far as Westerns, I feel like they're just not done that often in modern day. They're really expensive to do. I had been working on a small part in Billy the Kid, which also shoots in Alberta, which I think, airs on, I'm not even sure the network it is on, but I was doing the first of my, like the first Western role I'd ever done. At the time I was being called back for Ride. So I was shooting that and then began auditioning, and then was working on, was back in Banff, Alberta, shooting a small role in a crime miniseries that's for Prime called Wilderness, that's coming out soon, and was doing the callbacks for Ride from my hotel room. So I wasn't, the most of my Western experience had just happened, and then I was also in the whirlwind of other work when Ride crossed my desk. So I couldn't even really digest the scale of the show. Like obviously the pilot was rich with rodeo and stunts and all of the texture of the Western world, but it was really just finding my way into the character of Tuff that drew me to the show. And there are although it's a Western, it breaks the formula in so many ways that are really exciting too. So first real Western experience, and boy, is it a good one. We've got a lot in store for you over the next 8 episodes. I think 2 have aired while we're talking this. But yes, that's the long answer to your how about Westerns question.
There you go. I love it. And for anyone who doesn't know about the show, can you tell us a little bit about Ride and who Tuff is?
Yeah, absolutely. Ride is a family drama set in Canyon, Colorado, wherein the McMurray family, the McMurray rodeo dynasty family, has just suffered a loss within that family and are working through their shared grief while also having to save their beloved family ranch. And I play Tuff McMurray in that story, who's the youngest of 3 brothers, the eldest of which is the family member that we lose at the top of the show. And at that time, I also become the foreman of McMurray Ranch. I am the frontman of a local band called the Dirt Road Relics. And I also bullfight in the ring with my brother, who I both fought with my brother who passed, and now step into that role with our middle brother Cash, and that is the premise of our show. So lots of hats to wear. A couple people they're all big hats. The hats even get bigger, I think, as we get towards the later episodes, and go into winter. But yeah, no shortage of stuff to do for Tuff McMurray.
Yeah, definitely. I saw the couple episodes. Yeah.
Busy guy.
And how was it like working with the whole cast? I mean, you got le- legend on your show, Nancy Travis, and how was like the set like and the cast like?
I mean, we got along from the get-go. This sounds like a soundbite, but something about, I think, this is my theory on it. I get a bit detective-y, just like Tuff does. But I think because we were all uprooted from our respective hometowns, Tierra and I are Vancouver-based, Bo and Nancy are LA-based, Sarah is LA, Toronto, none of us were at home. So we couldn't rely on our normal day-to-day schedules. And I mean, I don't think that's the only piece of the puzzle, but it was from that we really quickly made plans together. We were river rafting and
Wow,
having picnics. Like, we really do get along like a family. It's
that's awesome.
yeah, it's a really, really spoiled thing to call work, to get along with these people the way that we do, and then to also be paid for it is something that still has me pinching myself. But Nancy sets that tone. Part of why one of the first meals we had together, we went out for an Italian meal at a little restaurant called Mercato that's around the corner from where I am now. And Nancy treated the whole family to a meal, and was just this welcoming energy. She's done so much, and so much high quality work as well, and is so passionate about storytelling. She is doing a three-hander play in Santa Barbara right now.
Wow.
Yeah, she's just dedicated to the craft, and she really sets the tone from the top down. She is as kind to the production assistants as she is to the directors and executive producers, and that just really set the framework for how the whole season would play out. And then, of course, Tierra, Bo, Sarah, Tyler, the entire supporting cast, Greg, Alex, Vass, like, I think we were cast very well. That's part of it. It's really, really fantastic casting. Some of the best I've observed. And I'm not speaking about my role. I just show up at work, and the dynamic choices around me are so fun to witness, and they make the world that much more vivid. And I think we all support each other in that way. So can't say enough good. Can't say enough good, really, truly. I just want to do more of it. We're sort of in the limbo now where we'll wait for the numbers to know whether or not we're going to be able to make more of the show. And it would just be such a joy to get to do that. And the fact that audiences are responding the way that they are is triply cool, tenfold.
Oh, definitely. And I hope too that more people watch it so you can make some more stuff.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
Exactly. And like you were saying, Tuff is a bull fighter. And did you have to learn how to do like bullfighting and ranch stuff and cowboy stuff?
Absolutely, all of it. It's a very full question, because as the scripts are coming in, because not everything is written when we start shooting a season, you're learning what your character knows how to do. So for me, luckily, some of the musical elements of the show were in the pilot as well. So I do sing, but I was in guitar lessons from the get-go. We were there for it was a month of prep where we were taking ranching and riding lessons pretty much full time as part of the table reading and like breaking down of our characters. And there are always wranglers and coaches on set whenever we're dealing with anything on horseback. And then to get more specific about the bull fighting, I have a stunt double, actually two, that are able, Levi and Ty that are able to actually take on the risk. Like we're a liability as actors. We're not allowed to actually get in the ring with the bulls, except for when they're contained in the shoots. It is us, so it is your principal cast. Whenever the animals are contained, we're not directly dealing with the riding.
Exactly.
We're there, and so of course we're observing in full time. We have people who really do this not just on screen but in their real lives. Calgary is a ranching town. Although it's an urban place, it's in Western Canada, and ranching and rodeo are part of the culture here. So everyone from our makeup department to our stunts team has a hand in rodeo when they're not working on the show. So being around that makes everything easier. Of course, we have the best of the best to rely on as a cast, and we're so grateful for that because it makes the realism of the show that much more true.
Wow, that definitely makes me want to visit now. Like that sounds awesome. Like go see that, and then go catch a Flames game.
In that order. Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, I know you can't talk about the rest of the episodes, they're still coming out, but from what you shot so far that's actually on television, is there a scene that you had the most fun doing?
Wow. I mean, the quick answer is the bandstand and dance hall scene that happens in the pilot. It was the first time that we were together as a full company. We don't have Nancy there on that day, but as far as the generation of children or young adults that are the children in the story, that was the first time we were all together in one place. And from my vantage point, of course, I'm up on the stage looking down at my peers, some people that I've watched on TV for years. This is sort of a break in my career, but other members of the cast are relatively breaking through as well. Like Sarah's doing that a bit, but Tierra and Bo, and of course Nancy, have been on television forever. And Tyler Jacob Moore has a body of work that is as robust as his physical self. So it was amazing to shoot that scene and to watch my peers work from up on high. It was a really lucky experience that I wouldn't trade for anything. And of course, with the dancing and the sound and the playback and the full band, like those scenes are the most fun for me to shoot, just because of all the elements that I love about the show in one. Yeah.
Because a lot of fans were like, I was reading like some message boards and stuff, and like a lot of fans were like, oh, is that really Jake singing and playing the guitar? And that is really you, because you have a background with music.
Yes, the guitar is also completely new to me, as I say. So shout out to Mason, who coaches me throughout the season, but that's been thrilling as well. And I strum left, so there's a whole backstory to why the guitar is restrung, and it belonged to our dad, and hopefully more of that will come into clarity as we get into another season. But yes, the guitar playing has been really enriching, because it's something that I wouldn't pick up, like, because I do sing, like instruments have been secondary to that. And I've got the rehearsal guitar in the room with me here. I should maybe not mention that, because I'm definitely not picking it up, but it is it is here in the room. And again, one of those testaments to how great the coaching is on the show. We have fantastic resources to get everything as right as we can.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm not playing.
Not today.
And what's really cool about Ride and your character of Tuff, like Tuff is gay on the show, but like the show doesn't make it about that. Like you know, he is gay, but it doesn't focus on him being gay or him coming out. He's just a regular gay man who fights bulls.
Yeah. I mean, that is another reason that I was so excited about the pilot material and being considered for the role at all. It's been a while since we've or at least since I'm trying not to catch this. I'm like right in the light of my home here. No, but it is something that I hadn't seen for a long time. I hadn't seen a queer role that was just fitting into the world around them. There's been a few years now where we've definitely had more representation on television, but in a way that's starting to skew in a way that I don't think always represents a hero's journey. And of course, there's a place for both types of stories, but I think that there's been a period wherein we've lost sight of the goal of all this representation, which is just to really authentically represent real people in their real lives that happen to have these adjectives tied to their identity. And for me, Tuff was a breath of fresh air. And I say this a lot, but I do mean it. I think we need more Tuff McMurrays on television, more fully formed 3 and 4 dimensional queer people in the world, without necessarily having to stigmatize or stereotype in a way that feels a little bit regressive.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way I can answer that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's really special to me. It's really special to me. And Rebecca Boss and Chris Massey are creators. That was something that was very important to them. So I'm just carrying the torch of something that they've already built. That's all.
Nice. And was there any like funny or cool behind the scenes stories that happened while you were filming Ride?
Oh man, no shortage of them. I mean, I can think of some. We're always laughing and joking with each other, but the animals don't know that we're filming or care. And I can even think of some close calls with the ATV that you're going to see in a coming episode. There's a lot of that, but we make each other laugh all the time. I should have a specific story on hand, but the truth is that every day we're giggling all day, and it makes working very easy. We share a common sense of humor as a family, that's for sure. And we get along very similarly to our dynamics on screen. Tiara and I have our own inside jokes. Sarah and I get in a little bit of a back and forth with each other, teasing each other. Bo and I get along like brothers and shoot the breeze on just about everything. And Nancy's her own kind of crass behind closed doors. I won't say more than that, but that's the truth.
Okay. And how do you think you and Tuff are similar to each other?
Wow. I think most importantly, I think loyalty and integrity and honesty are priorities for both me and Tuff. Those are qualities that I try and lead with. I think we're similar, and I'd like to be less similar in our readiness to critique or to pass judgment. That's something that I think we all can work to be better on.
Yeah.
But I think one of the biggest differences that I feel fortunate. I mean, I'm playing a 25-year-old, and just now I'm 32. And one of the beautiful things about that is it's just this small window of difference where I get to comment a little bit on what that quarter century does to a young person. And I hope that in Tuff's journey, I hope there'll be more of it, for one, but I hope as well that he comes to find a little more grace and a little more empathy for people who see the world and operate in the world differently than he does. And I think that's a lesson we all can take away from Tuff's journey. I think we can all have a little more understanding than we have, particularly in the past few years, to give others the benefit of the doubt. But we'll have to see how that plays out in the first season.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And you also make films too, right?
Yes, that's right. So just now, as I mentioned, we're on the festival submission circuit with More Together, which is the 40-minute musical short film with music and lyrics by Drew Gasparini. And before that, Before They Were Them, is a 5-minute musical short with music by Kevin Wong that I adapted for the screen and directed, and that's on YouTube if you want to look it up. But yes, very much doing that, hoping to also move out of the musical space into some indie features that I'm co-penning with some friends at the moment. But yeah, got a lot, trying to keep irons in the fire, I think is the expression. Yeah.
And what do you like doing during your free time when you're not involved with doing film or musicals?
Wow, these questions. I mean, honestly, I try and take care of my body. I mean, that's something that comes with the territory of the work, but also that includes like eating really well, finding time for rest, getting some time in the sun every day, spending time with the dog. I love to swim. I'm a real beach going person, even though I don't live in California. I try and get to the beach in Vancouver as often as I can. And actually, the truth of it is, even with this ongoing renovation, that's become a big thing for my partner and I. Hopefully continuing to renovate and rent spaces is something that we've been passionate about for a while and been doing with our spot in Vancouver. And now hopefully we'll get some time living in this spot in Calgary, making a second season. But if we don't, that is something that I've been passionate about, and we're both passionate about, and are currently making the time for. But I wish I had something cooler to say. I wish I was like a dart thrower or something like that, or like good at archery. But really, I can be a bit of a homebody when I'm not working on other things. And right now, it feels like such an exciting precipice for what's coming next in my career. A couple directing things are getting more attention, and the show is obviously a huge spike in visibility for me. So I'm just grateful to be working in the field that I love more than I ever have before. That's the truth.
Okay, sweet. And what kind of music do you like? Like, what's on your playlist?
Wow, listen to a bit of everything. But at the moment, listening to, have to plug it, it's not even mine, but Some Like It Hot, the new Broadway soundtrack. Fantastic. Okay. Twice in New York. Been listening to a lot of country lately, actually, because I am always looking for inspiration, and in the hopes that there's more Tuff McMurray on the horizon. It's been important to me to broaden my country horizon. So a lot of Casey Musgraves and Orville Peck around the house right now, and some 90s country, like a lot of Jody Messina, and of course the soundtrack to our show that's live on Apple Music and Spotify. But always like a big indie fan, a lot of Vampire Weekend and Fun and that category, a little bit of Mika I bring up sometimes, and even a little Whitney lately, a little throwback to Whitney Houston. We watched the biopic, and just going back through that era of like real full vocals that were not engineered by computers all the time. That's been a joy of mine. A big voice. I'm a sucker for a big voice.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
And what would be your go-to karaoke song if you were doing that?
The actual truth is that I can't stand karaoke. This is bad. But I even had a friend's birthday recently, and she loves karaoke, and I was like, okay, I'll pay for the booth or whatever. And I won't do it. I don't know. It's this feeling that like, are you supposed to be good at it? Are you kind of supposed to be bad at it? Are you like, I don't know what the director's notes are. So it's hard for me to really lean in. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to have to get back to you. I mean, I just have never done it. I've been to a lot of karaoke and never held a mic. So, so that's the honest answer. I wish I had a better soundbite for you, but
That's all right.
the truth is that we never make it to really singing.
And which which your what food do you like the best? Like what's a big food for you that you can eat all the time?
I am a big barbecue person.
Oh
I'm a
yeah.
meat and potatoes guy. Well, meat and vegetables guy, I should say. That's the truth of. I'll have meat and veggies any which way, whether it's like barbecue and then broccoli salad, or we last night we made like warm kale salad,
Ooh,
chicken kale salad at home.
that
Big
sounds
sushi,
good.
big soup. Thank you. I actually am a decent cook. I wouldn't call myself like a chef at all, but I can make something out of whatever's in your fridge
Oh
and have it
wow.
be tasty. That's a hidden skill of mine that I credit my Italian mom for.
Nice.
But yeah, big sushi fan, big, big barbecue fan. Italian food is, because my mom's home cooking is so good, is one of the categories that I try and get out of the house for, because I can't do her cooking justice. So it becomes a restaurant thing. And I think that's the long and short list. I do like, I mean, it depends on the mood. There's a lot of good food between Vancouver and Calgary. Some
Oh
really,
really?
oh my God. Calgary especially has amazing, like the restaurants are just, there's a really high percentage of great restaurants here.
Hmm.
Same as in Vancouver, but with different like specialties.
Oh okay.
There's a lot of seafood in Van that I think is the best. And here there's a lot of barbecue, a lot of really
Oh
good.
oh, in Calgary, there's a lot.
Calgary, yes. Comery Block, South Block are fantastic. Those are two that I can think of. There's a couple. There's the Porch. Buongiorno's great Italian here. Orchard's amazing. Um, I'll send you a list.
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
There's just a few plugs for the local restaurants that I eat at. Lonely Mouth is so good. Lulu is here, amazing too. There's really, oh, with a Wednesday Room. The Wednesday Room's great.
Hmm.
Big restaurant guy, it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. That's
You
awesome.
spend 5 months here making a season of the show, so you get to go out to a few meals, and
Oh
that's
yeah, I'm sure. And I'm a big horror fan, so I always like
okay.
ask guess this. I mean, of course you could tell.
Yeah.
Are there any horror films that you like to watch?
Ooh, I am not a horror and gore person. Like
Yeah.
I can't really do gore. So there was that era kind of in the like 20, like in the 08 to like 2013, like all the like the Flight Plans, the Red Eyes, the Takens, anything in that
Yes.
thriller genre. I love a suspense thriller, but I feel like it's been a while for those.
Yeah, it definitely has.
Why is that?
I don't know.
I honestly think people felt a little bit too claustrophobic for 2 years, that the idea of like the call is inside the house was just too much for people. Uh, but that's a genre I love. I would love to. The closest I can even think of is, that gets a little bit violent, like Bodyguard. Did you watch Richard
Oh
Madden's
yeah.
Bodyguard? That was fantastic. The Night Agent I just started on
Yes.
Netflix. Stuff in that suspense category. Never got into House of Cards that much, but I think that was also kind of like had the suspense element as well as the
Oh.
political drama. But yeah, I'm trying to think of one. I watched some of the classics too ages ago. I'm just gonna say honestly, the closest I get is Jaws. Jaws is the closest I
Oh
get.
yeah, that's one of
Or
the
like,
best horror films.
and Lake Placid and
Yes.
Anaconda. Those were like of a
Yes.
time. I think that now I'm not a CGI person in general. So when there are computer graph, I like when there was the mixture of practical effects
Hmm.
and a little bit of early days visual effects, like Jurassic Park, early Jurassic Park. Everything has gotten a little bit too computer
Yeah,
shiny
that
for
yeah.
me, and it takes me out a little bit.
Yeah,
That's just
that's true.
that's
That's
all.
true. There's like a new thriller that just came out. I saw, and it was absolutely great. It's called the the Tutor, and Noah Schnapp from Stranger Things stars in it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it was really good. Like Noah Schnapp actually plays this student who his parents are loaded with money, or they're rich parents, and they
Yep.
hire a private tutor for Noah, and Noah gets obsessed with the tutor and starts stalking him and his wife.
Okay.
It's like a really good thriller, and Noah Schnapp was amazing in that. Like totally
Okay.
different from the character he plays on the television series.
Great. I gotta write that down. I'm gonna write that down. Tutor with a T. I,
Yeah,
I thought maybe tutor with a D, but now I know. I'll make sure that we look at the trailer. I can't promise I'm gonna watch.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go. And is there anything coming up next for you that you want to plug? I mean, everyone knows you're in Ride.
Yeah. Well, just to keep your eyes peeled for more together. Obviously, that festival circuit will be coming up, and then Wilderness will air on Prime Video as well. But definitely stay tuned for more Ride. That's the big thing around the house right now. Partly because it's been such a blessing to work with this cast, crew, and creative. It's potentially, I don't want to limit the future, but it could be one of those once in a lifetime things. So I'm just trying not to take it for granted at the moment, and really just enjoy how lucky it's been to be part of something like this at all.
Nice.
Yeah.
And lastly, is where can fans follow you at?
Oh, they can follow me on everywhere but TikTok at Jake Foy 55. At JakeFoy, as in yes, 55. And yeah, pretty much everything you'd need to know that is work or life related gets updated there. TikTok's just, it's moving too quick for me.
Yeah,
I'm a baby boomer at heart. I think I'm a millennial technically, but I feel like I'm 32 going on 50. I can't too fast. So yeah, who knows though? By the time this interview airs, I might get cornered into it. But we'll see.
yeah, yeah. I'll be like, oh well, look, Jake's on there doing the
Yeah.
latest trend on
For now,
TikTok.
I am not there. I'm holding out, strong,
Right.
hoping for the best. Thank you for the interview, Rocco. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate you coming on and finally getting to talk. And you're
Yes,
really awesome. It was great meeting you and talking to you.
thank you so much. Likewise to you. Hopefully, we get to touch base again soon.
Oh, definitely. Yes, definitely.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
All right, buddy. Thanks.